Fire on the lights. Let's get right to it. Got the washer brought inside. I'm gonna test it one more time with the body off. That way I can verify there's no leaks. Plus I already have the child lock sorted out. Let's take a look at this Samsung dryer. There's a cord in it. There's a bunch of dryer sheets in there as well. Let's get a cord put on it and see what's going on. As I was putting a cord on it, I went ahead and disconnected this, took the 2 Phillips off, but I saw that this red positive wire is starting to char away, bubble up. The insulation is no good there. You can see a burnt spot there on the metal. We'll cut this wire, make sure there's good insulation and contacts. Before I even do that, I'm gonna go ahead and open this thing up, see if there's anything else going on. This is the reason they have child locks on them, just so kids don't go in here and start shoving their hands in here while it's spinning crazy fast. The door taken off, lint traps out. Still got to take the front end off, the exhaust, and then we'll get a better look inside. Got the dryer all tore apart. I could tell right off the bat somebody's done something here in the past. Number one is the belt was here. You can see the faded line, but it should have been here where the original track was. Somebody put the drum in backwards. Also, it was missing a couple screws as I was taking it apart. And what really put the cherry on top, you can see somebody bypassed the wire here that actually goes to a switch that sits down here. I went ahead and took it off. And what it does is if the belt ever breaks for any reason, it'll cut the dryer off. It won't be able to operate. I took the switch off, pulled my voltmeter out and started checking continuity. And they bypassed it for no reason because this is a good switch. It works just fine. I also went through and checked all the sensors in the heating element. They're reading continuity, but I'm still gonna take the heating element off and take a better look. Took the casing off, started taking a look at it. It does read continuity. There's no broken spots. It does have a little bit of charring here on this metal plate, but that's not really a big deal. It tends to happen over time. There's no need in replacing it. Plus these 3-prong elements are pretty damn pricey for these Samsung machines. Just can't quite figure out why somebody would bypass that switch for no reason. So I went around and took the cover off this electronic board just to verify there's no issues here, no blown capacitors, no bad relays. Everything seems to be working. Maybe the dryer wasn't getting enough power because it had a bad wire here, so somebody tried to fix it and couldn't figure it out. So they just started bypassing stuff. I'm really not sure. Out of everything I've checked, it seems to be checking out. What I will do is put 2 new ends on the spliced wire down here, reinstall that switch. That way, if the belt does ever break, it cuts the dryer off like it should. Fired on the compressor. I just went through, blew out all the big lint in the exhaust, made sure it was nice and sparkly clean in here. Let's get it taken back inside and finish this up. This old school Kenmore works great. Spun the close out nice, finished out the cycle. This is gonna be the last time I check it with the body off. Hello, sir. All right, let's get the wheels re-greased for the front end, and then we'll start piecing this thing back together. There's a lot of hair caught up here, like always. These wheels are not in bad shape. They're moving pretty smooth, but I'm already in here, and I do see some hair building up on it, so I'm gonna go ahead and clean the wheels up and re-grease them. We've already finished up the inner drum wheels. Elements reinstalled. All the sensors are hooked back up. Everything internally is pretty much done, so we gotta finish this up, and then we'll start putting the whole package back. Quite the bit of hair built up on this thing. We want to get it all off while we're here before we put some grease on it. This little plastic triangle fits in the groove down here. Then the wheel goes on and then another one goes here. All these do is really just keep the wheel from moving too far from where they need to go. Pretty good idea. Pretty cheap idea too. Cheap and good. You don't see that very often. This is how I clean the inside metal of the wheels. The rag in there, it's a wet rag. I used it in that washer in there that I fixed. Go from both sides, wipe it a couple of times, make sure the wheel has no flat spots. Let's grab the grease. Get a little grease on the edge of my finger right there. Put it on the shaft. You don't want to overdo it to cause a mess, but you also want to make sure there's enough. Get my little pointy tool with some grease on it. Take it in here and just Spin it around, go from both sides. And then it makes such a tight fit. Spin it as you put it on. Get this extra grease here, go back around. Make sure you work it in there real good, and that's pretty much it. Slap it on there, make sure it fits. That's a nice new greased up drum wheel. Let's get this one taken care of. Take this outside real quick. Forgot to blow it out real quick. Grab the belt. Belt's in pretty good shape. This time we're going to make sure we put the drum in the right way. Whoever did this last time did not put the drum in the right way. I'm kind of going in blind, but I've done this so many times that I know which way it's got to go. Before I go any farther, I'm going to bend it back. It's nothing too serious. We're going to make sure everything is tip-top. Take a little water break. Next up, this and these 4 screws. Keep everything in little piles here. When you do something so often, you kind of know what screws go where. Get these wires hooked back up. This goes to the child lock. Child lock is hooked up. All right. Let's make sure it sits properly here. There's a little clip. There it is. Got to make sure everything clips in place. Fits on like a glove. Let's put these 3 screws up here. There's one more plastic piece that goes here. This little plastic piece goes in here. It's a little bit of a support for the drum. That's where the last person put the belt. That is not where it was supposed to go. It was supposed to go on this track here. All we did was flip the way the drum went in. Inching closer and closer to completing this job. Cover up the grease, clean up the excess. Put it back where it needs to go right away. These rags will wash. Start putting away some of these tools as nightfall arrives. Freshly blown out link trap. We'll go in the freshly cleaned out exhaust. Last thing that we need to do before we can fire this thing on is take care of this wire back here that we're having a bit of a problem with. So only one of them is the problem, and it's this one right here. We're going to be replacing it anyways. You can see this wire has about had it. Insulation's all gone. Take this. We're gonna snip it somewhere here. We gotta find a new one of those. What I'll have to do first. This should work. Let's snag this thing. Take off this tape. This is why you got to keep these spare parts. You never know when you'll need them. And when you need them, you can get the job done faster. And I don't have to wait for any parts to come in. We'll make some happen. So we'll be swapping this one out, which has got bad insulation, corroded wire, with this one. Grab my wire nuts. Let's find one that's the right size. It should be the yellow ones. There they go. This is the one we need. Got to make sure it can fit both of these gauges. Make sure it's on there good. I'm still going to get a little bit of electrical tape. Got the wire repaired back here. There's a cord hooked up to it. Everything is put back together. New switch, wheels re-greased, everything checked. Let's see what happens. Let's get her turned on. We'll set it on time dry. Let's go 20 minutes, high heat. Turn this eco dry trash off. Nice. Spinning nice and smooth. Let's give it a second. We'll see if it's producing heat. Oh yeah, we got good heat coming out the back. I went ahead and clipped the top end back in place. Nice good heat. Look good in here. That's another one complete officially. We'll get this thing cleaned up in the morning. Let's head out of here. Now that we finished up that dryer, made my way out here. Nightfall has arrived, but I still got to check the oil in my car, make sure it's good. I'm going to need it in the morning. Also, I'm going to go through and make sure all my tires are good. Everything should be there, but it's better safe than sorry. Top the engine off with some Lucas heavy-duty oil stabilizer. Other than that, we don't need much. If I had some coolant, I'd top my coolant reservoir off. It's not low, but it's about at the halfway mark, so I'd like to add a little bit more. I don't have any more, so I'll probably stop at Walmart tomorrow and get some. Other than that, this old car is running like a charm. Let's get everything put away, take the car up to the house. Another day in the shop is coming to an end. Got to get the dogs fed, get some dinner going for me and Irvin. We'll be back out here tomorrow.